Shabbat Shalom,
Shabbat Shalom.
which is peace on Yahweh's holy Sabbath day. Welcome to another holy convocation that Yahweh has enjoined unto us here in Stone Mountain, Georgia. As we get closer and closer to the redemption of the children of Israel, we're going to see more and more things as it is written. If it were possible, these things will even fool the very elect. So we have to understand that some of the things that are happening, the majority of people are not going to be able to figure out whether they're coming from Yahweh or whether they're coming from the adversary, the devil. And the adversary likes to hide in that leeway where things appear to be that it's being done by one entity while it's being done by another, because the adversary wants to be worshipped as if he is Yahweh. So there's a lot of things that the adversary has put in place to mimic Yahweh, the Elohim of Israel. When we talk about what has happened with the Sabbath day, understanding that Yahweh set everything on the seventh day, the adversary then comes forth and gives us the first day. But you got to look enough to see that it's flipped, to see that there's something that's not quite right with the way that he has set these things up. So there are going to be some things here when we even get into Revelation, and it talks about when the adversary is finally ejected out of heaven, there's going to be a whole lot of people saying the Messiah has returned. You got to understand just how deep that is. So the ones who are deceived, they will believe that their Messiah has returned. And truly, their God has returned. Their God has told them he wants to be in heaven. So then he has given them a doctrine that they believe as soon as they die, they're going to go to heaven. So he doesn't care what he has to do to get the people to worship him. His drive is to be just like the Most High. So if he's going to have high and lofty thoughts of himself, he needs worshipers who are going to have high and lofty thoughts about themselves as well. But before we get started, brother, would you entreat the angel that stands at the door that he may come in and sup with us and us with him, that we may make this a holy convocation by the angel's presence.
1 Peter chapter 4, verses 7 through 11. But the end of all things is at hand. Be you therefore sober and watch unto prayer. And above all things have fervent love among yourselves, for love shall cover the multitude of sins. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. As every man has received the gift, even so minister the same one to another as good stewards of the manifold grace of Elohim. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of Elohim. If any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which Elohim gives, that Elohim in all things may be glorified through Yahshua the Mashiach, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Ephesians chapter 4, verses 29 through chapter 5 and verse 4. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. And grieve not the Holy Spirit of Elohim, whereby you are sealed until the day of redemption. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be you kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as Elohim for Yahshua's sake has forgiven you. Be you therefore followers of Elohim, as dear children, and walk in love, as the Mashiach also have loved us, and has given himself for us an offering and sacrifice to Elohim for a sweet-smelling savor. But fornication and all uncleanness or covetousness, let it not be once named among you as becomes saints. Neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather giving of thanks. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verses 1 and 2. Keep your foot when you go to the house of Elohim, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. Be not rash with your mouth, and let not your heart be hasty to utter anything before Elohim. For Elohim is in heaven, and you upon earth. Therefore let your words be few. Exodus chapter 23, verses 20 and 21. Behold, I send an angel before you, to keep you in the way, and to bring you into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him, and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. Revelations chapter 3, verses 20 through 22. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him and will sup with him, and he with me. To him that overcomes will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I have also overcame and am sat down with my Father in his throne. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches.
All right, we're going to begin today's sermon in Genesis chapter 6. Genesis chapter 6, and we're going to read verses 1 through 17. Genesis chapter 6 and verses 1 through 17. And today's sermon is entitled, Just Like the Most High.
Genesis chapter 6 and verse 1. And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of Elohim saw the daughters of men that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose.
Now, you will listen to some people, of course, when it gets down to verse 4, that they will try to make marriages between angels and regular women, which when we read in the New Testament, we find out that Christ said angels neither marry nor are given in marriage. So this is not something that happened. When you look at, if you have a subtitle, a little heading there, right under chapter 6, it says the marriage of the Canaanites with the Sethites. So you got the holy seed that then starts mixing with the evil seed. And this is how they then become all about natural things. And this is the same thing that causes us issue for we just marry anybody that we think look good. Go ahead.
And Yahweh said, My spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of Elohim came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men which were of old, men of renown.
Men of renown, men that were after mighty things and natural things, not in spiritual things. This is two different statements. There were giants in the earth in those days, semicolon, and also after that, when the sons of Elohim came into the daughters of men. So now this holy seed is having a problem passing on, because now the brothers who are supposed to be carrying this holy seed, they then are dealing with natural women because they look good. Go ahead.
You know, brother, and I know we just mentioned the Canaanites and the Sethites. In case y'all not following, the seed of Cain and the seed of Seth, which is the holy seed, replaced after Abel, is now mixing with the seed of Cain. Verse 5. And Elohim saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And it repented Yahweh that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. And Yahweh said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast and creeping thing and the fowls of the air, for it repents me that I have made them.
Right, but what we say, what we've heard. Well, God is full of grace. He's not angry with anybody anymore. See, He's not angry. Now, here it is. They were doing everything that they wanted to do. Yet, we're being told man is doing exactly that same thing today. Yet, they're being told on the opposite day, on Sunday, that God's not angry. Go ahead.
But Noah found grace in the eyes of Yahweh.
Right. They said grace is this new thing that didn't show up until the New Testament. Noah found grace. And here it is. When you talk about the grace that Yahshua brought in, it was the grace away from animal sacrifice. See, there had to be blood shed to make an atonement for sin. Yahshua brought that grace in that his blood was offered up for all the sins. So no other animal sacrifice could even add up or measure up to that. That's the grace that he brought in. See? But they want to make grace the reason for everything they do. When they steal something, it's by the grace of God. That's why I stole it. Well, they buy something they ain't got no business doing. God gave me that Benz. It was grace. Yeah, but you couldn't pay your light bill before you got it. So is grace going to pay your lights? Grace then becomes the reason for everything that people either want to do or what they don't want to do. When they get up to something they don't want to do, oh no, Grace said I ain't got to do that. I talked to Grace last night. She told me you do not have to do this right now. Okay. Go ahead.
Genesis chapter 6 and verse 9. These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and perfect in his generations, and Noah walked with Elohim. And Noah begat 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The earth also was corrupt before Elohim, and the earth was filled with violence. And Elohim looked upon the earth, and, behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth. And Elohim said unto Noah, The end of all flesh is come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them. And, behold, I will destroy them with the earth. Make you an ark of gopher wood, rooms shall you make in the ark, and shall pitch it within and without with pitch. And this is the fashion which you shall pitch it of. The length of the ark shall be 300 cubits, the breadth of it 50 cubits, and the height of it 30 cubits. A window shall you make to the ark, and in a cubit shall you finish it above. And the door of the ark shall you set in the side thereof. With lower, second, and third stories shall you make it. And behold, I, even I, do bring a flood of waters upon the earth to destroy all flesh, wherein is the breath of life. From under heaven, and everything that is in the earth shall die. Right. So you have to understand what's happening then. Yahweh sets up this garden. The adversary, the devil, comes, uses the serpent to negatively influence the man in which Yahweh has bestowed all of these things upon. Then you have, because of that, the next seed, Cain, then is the first son brought forth after evil. So now you got an evil line. So Satan sets up his line before Yahweh sets up his through his intervention in the garden. So after this time, Cain was able to go ahead and go first, multiply upon the earth, set up cities, set up all of these things. Seth comes afterward. All right. But now, because Lucifer is still trying to get control, he's having the Sethites still merge with the Canaanites. Once again, if you look, every commercial has some kind of interracial marriage on it. Pay attention. Every television show, every commercial, everything. They got to merge. So by merging, there's no longer a you. See? If you can muddy the water so much that everybody intertwines, this is also a part of that one world government
Because if the people are so merged that you can't figure out what they are, what difference do it make? Just all come together and be one. So your God is my God, and my God is your God, and we just worship everybody. God, how about, okay, your God had Monday, my God had Tuesday, his God can have Wednesday and Thursday because he got a big God. You know, he need 2 days. But that helps them do what it is they need to do. So Yahweh then brings a flood upon the earth, and he sets forth Noah, a man that he found righteous, and he's setting up a family through that. So what has he essentially done? He flooded Lucifer's seed. Now Lucifer pissed off about it. Remember that. All right, let's go to Genesis chapter 9.
Genesis chapter 9 and verse 1. And Elohim blessed Noah and his sons, and said unto them, Be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth. And the fear of you and the dread of you shall be upon every beast of the earth, and upon every fowl of the air, upon all that moves upon the earth, and upon all the fishes of the sea. Into your hand are they delivered. Every moving thing that lives shall be meat for you. Even as the green herb have I given you all things. But flesh with the life thereof, which is the blood thereof, shall you not eat.
Right. I just got through looking at that. It don't matter what you're looking at. Any commercial, they tell you, oh, it's this. They show people having a party and they got a big old table full of bloody meat. Tell me, look at these juicy steaks. It's just dripping blood all on the plate. And if you go to one of those buffets, you got to argue with the people to make them cook you a steak all the way through. You ruining the steak. Hey man, cook my steak. You don't like it juicy? You want it burnt? Well, set it on fire then. Cook mine all the way through, man. Go ahead.
Verse 5. And surely your blood of your lives will I require. At the hand of every beast will I require it. And at the hand of man. And at the hand of every man's brother will I require the life of man.
So, when Yahweh has Yahshua come here the second time to require blood of all of these people who have eaten blood and have shed blood, they're going to think something is unfair. Why is God doing this to us? But they have walked in eating blood and shedding blood for centuries upon centuries. And they think it's going to be unfair when judgment shows up. Go ahead.
Whoso sheds man's blood, by man shall his blood be shed. For in the image of Elohim made he man.
So when they, how they had to rationalize the beating, the raping, castration, cutting off limbs of us as a people, they say they're not really men. See, justification is a mother. If you can trick yourself into being justified for the evil deeds no longer seem evil. So by pretending that, you know, we were not men, then they gave themselves the okay to do all of those things. Go ahead.
And you, be you fruitful and multiply. Bring forth abundantly in the earth and multiply therein. And Elohim spake unto Noah and to his sons with him, saying, And I, behold, I establish my covenant with you and with your seed after you, and with every living creature that is with you, of the fowl, of the cattle, and of every beast of the earth with you, from all that go out of the ark to every beast of the earth. And I will establish my covenant with you. Neither shall all flesh be cut off any more by the waters of a flood, neither shall there any more be a flood to destroy the earth.
Right, neither shall there any more be a flood to destroy the earth. That don't mean it won't be a flood to destroy certain places on the earth, just not the whole earth. Go ahead.
And Elohim said, This is the token of the covenant which I make between me and you and every living creature that is with you for perpetual generations. I do set my bow in the cloud, and it shall be for a token of a covenant between me and the earth. And it shall come to pass, when I bring a cloud over the earth, that the bow shall be seen in the cloud.
Right. So the rainbow is a symbol of the token between Yahweh and man, that there shall not be any destruction in the earth. The adversary said the rainbow is the sign of gay pride. So now, people who believe in Yahweh see a rainbow and they say a symbol of the covenant. You go to Midtown, they see the rainbow, they be like, hey, how you doing? Wait a minute. That ain't why I got the rainbow. Wait a minute. Hold on, bro. Hold on. Sit it down. Hold on, about to get ugly up in here. Just hold on, bro. See? So you can't take that rainbow to the wrong part of town. See? You take that rainbow to the wrong side of town, you get all kind of phone numbers. So, but you see that? You see how the adversary work? See? He gonna take the thing of Yahweh's and he gonna make them do something else. The kids were asking me about yoga. You know, there's certain positions in yoga that's the, you know, their worship things. Man, yoga is stretching. All right, at the end of the day, stretching is good for you. Understand something. Yahweh made this body. So, he made all these fingers. If you decide this right here mean we worship whatever God, now I'm supposed to not hold my finger? I hold my fingers how I want to hold my finger. Yahweh gave me these fingers. Yahweh made these fingers. I don't care what you decide, what you gonna make it after that. Now I got to walk around. I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do that. I can't do that. If I do this, then they think I worship God. Man, get that mess out of here. I don't even know all your little God worship signs. And if I knew all of them, and then I got to figure out, I'm thinking more about not making one of your little signs than I am about worshiping my own Elohim. It's like Saul said, the idol is nothing. It don't exist. It ain't real. So what I care about your little symbols? They mean jack to me. Yahweh made this. The earth and the fullness therein belongs to him. And he used whatever he want to use out of it. So if you want to stretch, get your stretch on. Now I might avoid some of this. You know. Because you know that Vishnu and you know and all that other, you know, the huggy God, the one that got all the arms and stuff. You know. I know they put all that stuff in there. So, you know, you can avoid all that. But at the end of the day, Yahweh made that body. Man didn't. Go ahead.
Verse 15. And I'll remember my covenant, which is between me and you and every living creature of all flesh, and the waters shall no more become a flood to destroy all flesh.
All right. Shall no more be a flood to destroy all flesh. Let's go to Matthew chapter 24.
I got a quick question on that.
Go ahead.
But that covenant is between all flesh, including the creatures. So when they see the rainbow, are they thinking gay too?
Hey, bro, the gay people, don't they adopt kids?
I mean animals though, but it was between the creatures.
Well, bro,
too.
if they got, what, ain't the kids coming up 4th and 5th grade talking about they want to change their orientation? Well, then that means you got some sweet crickets out there too. I think at that shop you used to go to, there was a confused dog out there. That dog. Hey, you remember that confused dog they had at that shop? I said, kid, something ain't right with that dog. It was a girl dog, but it was doing boy things. We said, hey, bro, something wrong with that dog, man. Right. Now where that confused dog come from?
The whole earth is upside down.
Yeah, see? That's why you think it said the earth waits for the manifestation of the sons of Elohim. See, that things ain't right in it. See? The earth is waiting for you. The earth can't even be what it's supposed to be because you not in the spot where you supposed to be. It ain't just about you. Matthew chapter 24. And let's read verses 29 through 39.
Verse 29. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with the power and great glory. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. Now learn a parable of the fig tree. When his branch is yet tender, and puts forth leaves, you know that summer is near. So likewise you, when you shall see all these things, know that it is near, even at the doors.
Know that it is near, even at the doors. I was just watching the news about the hurricane, and they were talking about in Florida. You know, all the birds fly south. You know, amen. They say, y'all know all the birds gone. Now, who was the bird captain that said, hey, man, it's time for us to get up out of here, bro? Now, do they have a weather channel? Do they have like a bird weather channel? Because how they know? They gone. Now, they telling black people, hey, look, y'all need to leave. They're like, we ain't bird gone. When they had that thing in Miramar or whatever it was, that big tsunami came in there, not only was the birds gone, the chickens, the goats, all of them out, Jack. Now, did they all of a sudden have some kind of animal leadership committee? You know, and they sat down, all right, everybody, all the animals gather around. Look, we got to get out of here. Oh, you know, did they all get, what happened? Because they was all gone. Now, they supposed to be dumb animals. They stand at the top of the hill like, look at them old stupid human. Boy, that got to be the dumbest thing God ever made. Oh, look at them, boy. They got so dumb. They don't want to need a flea collar, not me. They sitting there looking at us like we got to be the dumbest things ever. Right. Animals gone. The storm ain't even made it here yet. They already gone. Right. Go ahead.
Verse 34. Verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass till all things be fulfilled. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my words shall not pass away. But of that day and hour knows no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day that Noah entered into the ark.
Right. They enjoying themselves. They having a party, just like now. Said just like, you know, it was that movie that I was talking about, when they were talking about the aliens were coming, they had an alien party. Hurricanes come, they have a hurricane party. Other people evacuating and other people out. They just dancing, Jack. You see the big storm coming out of there? So they got a drink in Louisiana called a hurricane. Get you towed up from the floor up, Jack. Yeah. They got a drink called hurricane. Yeah. It's funny until it actually comes. It's not funny when you see your whole house just float down. Hey, man, they go 5816. They go right down there. Right. There's going to be a new address wherever it stops. Go ahead.
And knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be.
Right. Knew not until the flood came and took them all away. But Yahweh said, I'm not going to do that anymore over the whole earth. But do understand, the adversary is still upset because he had to then form another seed out of the holy seed. So people be trying to figure out naturally how the seed of Cain come about. The seed of Cain came about through evil dealings. So what Yahweh, what the adversary had to do to counteract Yahweh's measure is he's got to pull him another evil seed out of the sons of Noah. Let's go to Genesis chapter 19. See, we have to understand when you're dealing with the adversary, the devil, it's not about the natural flow of any lineage. Remember what Yahshua said to the Pharisees, you are of your father the devil, and the works of your father you will do. It was not about that they were naturally the sons of the adversary. Spiritually, they were the sons of the adversary because they followed and did what he said do. That's how they became that way. Genesis chapter 19. And let's read verses 1 through 14.
And there came two angels to Sodom at even, and Lot sat in the gate of Sodom. And Lot, seeing them, rose up to meet them, and he bowed himself with his face toward the ground. And he said, Behold now, my masters, turn in, I pray you, into your servant's house, and tarry all night, and wash your feet. And you shall rise up early, and go on your ways. And they said, No, but we will abide in the street all night. And he pressed upon them greatly, and they turned in unto him, and entered into his house. And he made them a feast, and did bake unleavened bread, and they did eat. But before they lay down, the men of the city, even the men of Sodom, compassed the house round, both old and young, all the people from every quarter. And they called unto Lot, and said unto him, Where are the men which came in to you this night? Bring them out unto us, that we may know them. And Lot went out at the door unto them, and shut the door after him, and said, I pray you, brethren, do not so wickedly. Behold now, I have two daughters which have not known man. Let me, I pray you, bring them out unto you, and do you to them as is good in your eyes. Only unto these men do nothing. For therefore came they under the shadow of my roof. And they said, Stand back. And they said again, This one fellow came in to sojourn, and he will needs be a judge. Now will we deal worse with you than with them. And they pressed sore upon the man, even Lot, and came near to break the door.
Right, and this is the same thing you hear from people. As soon as you say something about what's happening, they swear that you judging them. This man has offered his own daughters, but these men, they don't want the women. They want the men. And then when he says something, they then accuse him of trying to judge them. And they say, we're going to be even more harsh with you. Go ahead.
But the men put forth their hand and pulled Lot into the house to them, and shut to the door. And they smote the men that they were at the door of the house with blindness, and both small and great, so that they wearied themselves to find the door. And the men said unto Lot, Have you here any besides son-in-law, and your sons, and your daughters, and whatsoever you have in the city? Bring them out of this place.
So this is no different than when here it is, you hear the word, and you know, all you got it in your heart, you want to go tell all your family. Oh, it's destruction coming. Y'all need to change y'all life. Go ahead.
For we will destroy this place, because the cry of them is waxing great before the face of Yahweh.
Right. Tell somebody that something's going to happen to America.
Boy, get out of here. Nothing going to happen to America. Strongest place ever was. This place ain't never going to fall. Get on out of here.
Go ahead.
And Yahweh had sent us to destroy it. And Lot went out and spake unto his sons-in-law, which married his daughters, and said, Up, get you out of this place, for Yahweh will destroy this city. But he seemed as one that mocked.
He seemed as one that mocked. Man, get out of here with that foolishness. Ain't nobody got time for that. Right. So you talk to them, but they can't hear you. It ain't in their heart to hear you. And it don't matter what kind of words you use. Their heart is set on what it's set on. That don't mean you ain't supposed to talk though. Because you assume that you talking to everybody for them to hear the word. You might be talking to them so that righteous judgment can be placed on them. Not your job to figure out for what reason Yahweh has caused you to speak. Revelation chapter 12. You know, that was that whole thing about going to Nineveh. He didn't want to go to Nineveh because he knew one thing. Nineveh was going to repent, which was going to make it worse for Israel. You understand that, right? Nineveh repented, then eventually those same people end up ruling over Israel at some point. But that's what he said. He said, if I had gone to the strangers, they would repent. See, this was a message to Israel. How is it I go to y'all? I show y'all all these covenants. I show y'all all these wonderful things at the mount. I give y'all all of these things. Yet y'all won't repent. Now I go over here to these heathens. Now I'm going to show them little heathens one thing. Watch this. So he was like, I ain't going. I know they're going to repent. I know they're going to repent. Boom. They go and repent. Their destruction don't happen. Go and talk to Israel. See what happens. See? First of all, we can't even get nothing together. See, we got to have a meeting so we can discuss the day we're going to have a meeting so we can discuss what we're going to meet about when we eventually had a meeting. Right. Right. Went to the heathen repented. Soon as they heard, oh man, we got to change our life. Right. Go talk to Israel. You know what, man, I know what you're saying is true, but you know, I like my church. You know, I know we meeting on the wrong day. And I know Christ wasn't born on the 25th. And I know we shouldn't be drinking the grape juice. I understand that. But it's such a lovely environment. Right? Hell should be nice. If you're going to sin, it should be enjoyable. Enjoy yourself. Until the day there's wailing and gnashing of teeth. Revelation chapter 12, verse 1 through 17.
And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. And she, being with child, cried, travailing in birth, and pain to be delivered. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon.
All right, so the woman with the crown and the 12 stars is Israel, and she being with child, which is the child that came forth out of Israel was the Mashiach. This is this born king. So, of course, the adversary has to move his people to try and kill the woman and the child. So it's automatically the adversary has indignation with Israel, the woman who brought forth the man-child. Go ahead.
Having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his heads.
So the adversary then sets up his rulership among the Euro-Gentiles. Go ahead.
And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth.
Right. So at this point that this war eventually happens, you having Lucifer taking a part of the angels with him when they decide to fight against Michael in heaven. And then they are cast out and cast into the earth. Go ahead.
And the dragon stood before the woman which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born.
Right. So the adversary uses the people that he has set forth on the earth to devour the children of Israel and the son that was born to rule the earth. Go ahead.
And she brought forth a man-child, who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron. And her child was caught up unto Elohim and to his throne.
Right. Understand, there's a large space in between all of these things that are written. Enormous time is in between one part of verse 3 and the last part or the beginning of verse 4. And so on and so on. Go ahead.
And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she has a place prepared of Elohim, that they should feed her there 1,260 days.
Right. The children of Israel will have to flee into the wilderness and be separated for those 3.5 years. Sanctification is given in threes. Go ahead.
And there was a war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon. And the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not. neither was their place found any more in heaven.
Right. That is the tail, the third part of the stars of heaven that was mentioned in verse 4. Go ahead.
And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent, called the devil and Satan, which deceives the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him.
Right. Now, he enjoyed using the serpent in the beginning, because the serpent was more subtle than all the other creatures. So this was the animal that he used to do the deception, and thus he is known by that animal that he decided to use. Go ahead.
And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, Now is come salvation, and strength, and the kingdom of our Elohim, and the power of the Mashiach. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our Elohim day and night.
Right. He was the one standing before. Do you fear Job for does Job don't fear you for nothing? Look at all the stuff you gave. Same thing he do to you. Whether you know it or not. You had that sister walking in front of you with the little short skirt on. Then as soon as you go off behind it, Yahweh, can I talk to you? Let me tell you about your boy over here. He do the same thing, them sisters. Had some brother walk around with a tank top full of muscles. He walked by, she, oh my goodness. Right, Lucy was like, Yahweh, can I talk to you for a second? You know that sister you talking about was all in the world. Let me talk to you about it. Right. He can't wait to tell on you. He set you up, then he the one tell on you. Right. He'll pass you the phone number. Here, you should call such and such. Right. Then he calling Yahweh. Yahweh, you listening to this? Let me put you on three-way. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 11. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb, and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death. Therefore rejoice, you heavens, and you that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knows that he has but a short time.
So you had regular anger the whole time. Now he's greatly angry. Go ahead.
And when the dragon saw that he was cast onto the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child.
So since he couldn't kill the man-child, now he says, well, I'm going to persecute the woman that brought forth the man-child, and that's Israel. So his indignation is against you. Yet, check out the flip. It's our people that he has his little twisted ministers talking to on the opposite day. God not angry with you. Now, their God is pissed with us. His whole objective is to kill you. So imagine, they're standing there on Sunday, worshiping the adversary, the devil, as God, and his false minister is saying, God not angry with you. When in actuality, the God that they worship is severely angry with them. Lucifer full of tricks. Go ahead.
And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place where she is nourished for a time and times and half a time.
So when you look at these things, you're like, man, why would these people just, start sending people out? Lo and behold, look at what's going on. Massive relocation because of some supposed natural event. Now everybody is relocating and they are getting help from the government to relocate. Interesting. Go ahead.
From the face of the serpent. And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman.
Now wait a minute now. Yahweh said, I ain't gonna flood the earth no more. But remember, Yahweh flooded Lucifer's seed. Lucifer said, well, I'm gonna flood yours then. Right. This is Lucifer trying to drown Yahweh's seed because Yahweh drowned his. See, we're standing in the middle between a spiritual chess match of Yahweh and Lucifer. I don't know which one of them, things on the board you are, but it don't matter. We them little pieces on the board. The player is Yahweh and Lucifer. That's who playing the chess. So Lucifer getting his get back, You flooded mine, my turn to flood yours. And he ain't trying to flood the whole earth. Just you. He already got a nice little practice out there in Louisiana. Majority of them people that went through that was us. Now you see all this help that's going on now, because, hey, it's rich people in this. See? Most of the rich folk who do like all that dirt, like for like years and years, they retire and go to Florida. You know? They've been stealing for 30 years. You know, I'm tired of stealing. Let's go somewhere where we can pretend to be righteous. Let's go to Florida, baby. Let's go. So that's why all the old gangsters, all the old thieves, and all them going. I know you from Florida, bro. I ain't talking about you, bro. I ain't talking about you. So they relocate and go to Florida. So you got all these rich people sitting there, and now their stuff is getting flooded. Now they're not gonna let those rich people go through the same thing that the poor people went through. Matter of fact, it ticked people off in Texas when they had to let some of the water go, release some water into the dams, out of the dam, so that it was controlled flooding. The people was upset because it kept flooding their houses again. They ain't asked the people in Louisiana. They said, oh, the levee's blue. Well, what's that guns powder we smell? Right, they blew them because they know when they released all of that water into the black neighborhood, that meant the rich folk wasn't going to flood. But see, they didn't have no black people they could blame it on in that part of Texas. They just had to tell, look, we just going to have to let the water go. So you got white people arguing. What is y'all problem? Y'all keep flooding us. Every time we get the water down, it ain't rain no more, but the water keep going up. They upset. Oh, with that baby, yes, that baby, they had a little bit of Katrina. Now you heard. Right. They ain't like what happened on the other side. But hey, but look at that. They doing it a little bit at a time with them. They did it all at one time with us. Go ahead.
That he may cause her to be carried away of the flood. Verse 16. And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood which the dragon cast out of his mouth. Right.
So the adversary tries to drown you, because understand now, consider how we got to leave out of here. Go ahead.
And the dragon was angry with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of Elohim and have the testimony of Yahshua the Mashiach.
Okay, so you got the people that's worshiping the adversary, the devil, on Sunday morning, not knowing. But then you have the remnant of the seed of the woman, which keep the commandments. That's you. Oh, he's greatly angry against the remnant, the ones who keep the commandment. See, he has great indignation against you. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 60. Isaiah chapter 60, and let's read verses 1 through 9.
Arise, shine, for your light is come, and the glory of Yahweh is risen upon you. For, behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people. But Yahweh shall arise upon you, and his glory shall be seen upon you.
Right, gross darkness has covered the people through the working of the adversary, that you can speak this word and read the truth to people. They still can't receive it. There are people that I've talked to and they say, you know, I believe what you're saying, that Saturday is the Sabbath. But they still can't keep it. And they know it. Go ahead.
And the Gentiles shall come to your light, and kings to the brightness of your rising. Lift up your eyes round about, and see. All they gather themselves together, they come to you. Your sons shall come from far, and your daughters shall be nursed at your side. Then you shall see, and flow together, and your heart shall fear, and be enlarged, because the abundance of the sea shall be converted unto you. the forces of the Gentiles shall come unto you. The multitude of camels shall cover you, the dromedaries of Midian and Ephah, all they from Sheba shall come. They shall bring gold and incense, and they shall show forth the praises of Yahweh. All the flocks of Kedar shall be gathered together unto you. The rams of Nebotha shall minister unto you. They shall come up with acceptance on mine altar, and I'll glorify the house of my glory. Who are these that fly as a cloud, and as the doves to their windows? Surely the isles shall wait for me, and the ships of Tarshish first, to bring your sons from far.
The ships of Tarshish first. Tarshish is Spain. This is the reason why we were called Negro. A Negro is a Spanish word for black. So the Spanish had the long distance ships. So now we're talking about these long distance ships to then take your sons back. So when the adversary tries to flood you, then you understand why or how he's able to try to drown you. As you are then leaving in these ships, he's going to try to kill you. Go ahead.
Their silver and their gold with them, unto the name of Yahweh your Elohim.
Their silver and their gold. Not their American money, not their cash. See? Okay? So everybody who trying to get their reparations and you trying to do all this to get you some money here. No. Yahweh said, your silver and your gold, you get paid on your way out. But see, that's a real mind screw in how Yahweh is dealing with that anyway. So you talk about how our people came out of Egypt with silver and gold. They had to give them these things. And these are things that we desired the whole time that we were in Egypt. Then he give you silver and gold, and you out there eating bread every day.
Man, I'm rich, and all I'm eating is bread.
Hey, Yahweh go from here to Bangladesh to prove a point. So we're going to leave out of here rich as all get out.
Still, all we got is bread, man.
Right. This that part where Yahweh is humbling you, but we don't see it like that. See? And we're going to have all the silver and gold we can shake a stick at, but you ain't got nowhere to spend it. Right. Because it ain't time yet. Because if you do have somewhere to spend it, when your mind ain't right, you're going to blow it. Half the people that win the lottery end up, half of them end up divorced 4-5 times, broke as all get out. Some of them end up in jail, strung out. You think some people hit the lottery and their life get better? They hit the lottery and their life get worse. Getting money is one thing. Understanding how to manage and keep and even control your life once you get the money is something altogether different. If we get a whole lot of money in our current state, it ain't gonna help us. It's rich people now. Many black people that's rich. So while we go to every corner in our neighborhood and we got to go to other nationalities, you can't even go and buy a bottle of wine. I got to deal with either the Asians or the Arab. I seen a new sign the other day. I went to go buy some wine. And I told myself I was not going to go to the little Asian when I go to the Arab because they treat me better, you know. I said, all right, once again, being lazy, this the closest one to the house. I'm going to go to the Asian one. I went up there, the sign said, you break, you buy. I said, once again, they have let me down. I said, man, once again, every time I try to deal with one fool, he hurt my feelings again. I'm sitting there looking at the sign, you break, you buy. You know, first it was you buy, you go. Now it's you break, you buy. I said, what? I started to take a picture of the sign. I was like, nah, man, that does not say what I think it says. Yeah, you break, you buy. Go ahead, brother.
And to the Holy One of Israel, because he has glorified you. That's verse 9.
That's it, bro. All right, let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 28. So that we understand that the adversary knows this story. And he is trying to engage in his chess match against Yahweh, and you are the one being used for that. But then again, do understand, you are also the bait for the trap. Since he wants you so bad, you the one that Yahweh gonna use to bait all the nations to come up. See, you have to ask yourself, all the nations got this book. All of them know that there's going to be this great war, and all the nations going to, send some of their people up. If it already say that they're going to be destroyed, why would they still send their people to come up? Unless they're confused and believe that they're on the good side. Right. Deuteronomy 28, and let's read verse 68.
And Yahweh shall bring you into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto you.
Right, and we know that they walked into Egypt. See, this Egypt is bondage. They shall go into bondage via ships. So it was ships how you got here. You talking about a mass amount of people. You can't put no mass amount of people on no airplane. There's a little amount of people you put on an airplane. If you got the ship, send mass amounts of people across the water, you use ships. So do understand, this is the mode of travel that has to be taken. So the adversary says, hey, I'm gonna deal with them once they get on this water. See, there's certain things that happen on water that we don't really understand. See, there's a different kind of law code that's on water. They call it maritime law. That's why you have, when you go to Biloxi or whatever, they put you on one of them little boats and then they go out in the water and go gamble. Well, they can gamble out in the water. No jurisdiction. Then they come back. You got to be finished gambling, though, when the boat come back in. Jurisdiction. See? It's all about jurisdiction and what happens. So the adversary said, when they get on that water, they fair game. See? They free, right? They ain't under nobody's jurisdiction, and they're under nobody's control. I'm getting them. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 14. When we was they were looking at this thing at the house about that thing that Tom Cruise in. What's that thing? Scientology. And the reason they can't really deal with that guy who did it is he set it up on the water. He set it up under maritime law. So he wasn't under the jurisdiction of America, and he wasn't under the jurisdiction of the United Kingdom. So there's stuff that be going on that don't nobody tell you about. So every time they try to tell him, none of the people graduate high school, they have to do what he ruled this thing with an iron fist. But they can't really touch him because of how his business is set up. That's why they want you to set up businesses according to the way that they dictate so that they can have control of it. That's why they want you to go ahead and get that 501c3 so they can tell you what you can and cannot say. Isaiah chapter 14, and let's start that at verse 1.
For Yahweh will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land. And the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob.
Once again, the ultimate restoration of Israel is about being in our own land, not in heaven. So the adversary comes and gives us his pipe dream, the pipe dream that he wants. I'm going to be in heaven. So then, let me give these people the same little twisted dream so that all our people walking around talking about, we going to heaven. Junebug just died. He in heaven looking down upon us right now. So he done transfer his little twisted thought process to us. Go ahead.
And the people shall take them and bring them to their place. And the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of Yahweh for servants and handmaids. And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. And it shall come to pass in the day that Yahweh shall give you rest from your sorrow, and from your fear, and from the hard bondage wherein you was made to serve, that you shall take up this proverb against the king of Babylon, and say, how has the oppressor ceased, the golden city ceased? Yahweh has broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. He smote the people in anger with a continual stroke. He that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted, and none hinders. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. Yes, the fir trees rejoice at you, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, since you are laid down, no fellers come up against us.
Right. So then you have this peace on earth that cannot happen as long as the adversary is free. Because he's constantly setting up altercation so that he can have a continual rule. You know, it's like each one of the so-called presidential candidates all talk about some kind of peace, you know, in the Middle East. The truth is they can never have peace in the Middle East if they need to rule it. And the way they rule it is by making sure that it is constantly destabilized. If those people get themselves together, then they will end up saying, wait a minute, man, you can't keep coming over here getting our oil. So they need it to be upside down and topsy-turvy so that they can get all of their natural resources. So it's a big facade that they're trying to clean it up. They ain't never going to clean it up. Go ahead.
Verse 9. Hell from beneath is moved for you to meet you at your coming. It stirs up the dead for you, even all the chief ones of the earth. It has raised up from their own thrones all the kings of the nations. All they shall speak and say unto you, are you also become weak as we? Are you become like unto us? Your pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of your vials, the worm is spread under you, and the worms cover you. How are you fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How are you cut down to the ground, which did weaken the nations? For you have said in your heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of Elohim.
Right. Here it is. He's the one in the garden. He is supposed to come and work in Yahweh's vineyard. He said, I don't want to deal with these filthy fleshly beings. I want to be back up in heaven. Matter of fact, I want to sit on your seat. Go ahead.
I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I'll be like the Most High.
I want to be just like the Most High. See? I want to go to heaven, so I'm going to tell all my little followers that they need to be trying to go to heaven too. So when you talk about a covering cherub, then every image that we've been given of an angel had wings, right? Here's the problem. The covering cherub is the only one that had wings, them and the beast. So he got everything like him. Oh, yeah. He deep with his thing. Go ahead.
Yet you shall be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. They that see you shall narrowly look upon you, and consider you, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms?
Right. He's going to be turned into a regular man. This is what all the weight is about. He's got to be transformed from an angel with authority to a regular man. Since he has spent all his time trying to kill man, that's his punishment. That Yahweh going to turn him into a man. Go ahead.
That made the world as a wilderness, and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners? All the kings of the nations, even all of them, lie in glory, everyone in his own house.
Right. So everybody has to go back to their own land. When you read in Jeremiah 50 and 51, when it starts talking about the destruction of the daughter of Babylon, it's talking about all the nations going back, all the people going back to their nativity, the land that they are from. Well, all of these people came here on their own, so they already know where they're going back to. That's why I keep trying to tell these brothers that want to make everybody, they listen to that little false 12 tribes chart. Man, when it come down to persecution, you're not going to find them people going with us, because we're going to have to wander a little bit. See? Ain't no place, ain't no country called Africa. Africa's a continent. See? They want to tell you all the Hispanics, these people are Israel. They gonna go back to where they folks from. They got land to go back to. They gonna go back there. They're not gonna go and wander with you. See, it was different when the mixed multitude followed Israel before. They watched our God dethrone the Egyptians. So you got some people that want to be on the winning side no matter what it is. That's my side. Because they winning. They don't know why they want to be. They just want to be on the winning team. But soon as persecution or any of that comes, they out. Because they weren't really committed to the team anyway. And people going to find that out the hard way when this persecution comes, when Yahweh starts trying to push us out of this place. Go ahead.
Isaiah chapter 14 and verse 19. But you are cast out of your grave like an abominable branch, and as the raiment of those that are slain, thrust through with a sword that go down to the stones of the pit, as a carcass trodden under feet. You shall not be joined with them in burial, because you have destroyed your land, and slain your people. The seed of evil doers shall never be renowned. Prepare slaughter for his children, for the lawlessness of their fathers.
Right, for his children. See, he's got a whole kingdom set up, just like the Messiah said. You are of your father the devil, and the works of your father you will do. So, the adversary not worried about the ones he got. He's coming after the remnant of the children of the woman who keep the commandments. So, he's going to have our own people come at us. While we keep looking at all these other things, no, most of the problems you're going to get, they're going to come from people who look just like you. Because Lucifer already got them. Go ahead.
That they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. For I will rise up against them, said the Yahweh of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name and remnant and son and nephew, says Yahweh.
All right. Now let's go to Genesis chapter 19. Genesis chapter 19. And let's read, we're going to read verses 24 and 25.
Verse 24. And he overthrew those cities and all the plain and all.
Right, where you at? Where you at?
Hold on, Genesis 19.
19 and verse 24.
Okay, verse 24. Then Yahweh rained upon Sodom and upon Gomorrah brimstone and fire from Yahweh out of heaven.
So fire and brimstone coming out of the sky to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. Go ahead.
And he overthrew those cities and all the plain and all the inhabitants of the cities and that which grew upon the ground.
So this is Yahweh clearly doing this thing. Now let's go to 1 Chronicles chapter 21. First Chronicles chapter 21, and let's read verses 18 through 27.
Verse 18. Then the angel of Yahweh commanded Gad to say to Dawid that Dawid should go up and set up an altar unto Yahweh in the threshing floor of Arnon the Jebusite. And Dawid went up at the saying of Gad, which he spake in the name of Yahweh. And Arnon turned back and saw the angel, and his 4 sons with him hid themselves. Now Arnon was threshing wheat. And as Dawid came to Arnon, Arnon looked and saw Dawid, and went out of the threshing floor, and bowed himself to Dawid with his face to the ground.
All right, now, see how Yahweh prepares your path. Verse 18, then the angel of Yahweh commanded Gad to say to Dawid, and Yahweh deals in levels. See, we like to bypass. See, everybody think they can bypass and go straight to Yahweh. And there's a hierarchy set up for a reason. All right. It makes for righteousness that everybody can't just go and deal with certain things. There's an order. All right. So the angel of Yahweh commanded Gad to say to David. Now, he could have talked to Dawid himself, but he didn't do that. That Dawid should go up and set up an altar unto Yahweh in the threshing floor of Ornan. So now he's going this way, right? And Dawid went up at the saying of Gad, which he spake in the name of Yahweh. So Gad spake in the name of Yahweh to give Dawid this instruction. Verse 20. And Ornan turned back and saw the angel. So he sends him, but then he sends the angel with him. But then again, what do he always say? I sent an angel to go before you to lead you in the way. Don't you provoke him, for he will not pardon your transgression. So here it is. Yahweh then allows the man who he's going to talk to see the angel. And his 4 sons with him hid themselves. So the daddy see the angel, the sons see the angel, they take off. They done. They're like, I'm out, Jack. Oh, and then like, all right, what's happening here? See, it's something strange. So now the man is already moved to give Dawid whatever he asked for. So now he's operating with Dawid in a certain way. He's got enough sense that now when Dawid comes, he bows to him. The son's out now. Now we talking about an old man. And the young muscle-bound dudes, they done took off. They gone. They left the daddy. We out. Because we don't know whatever that is, but we ain't got nothing to do with it. I hope it work out for you, daddy. We out. Tell us how it worked out. They done left the old man. But this is how Yahweh prepares your path. Everything that happens, you're not able to see. It was one of those battles, and I think it was either Elijah or Elisha or one of them. One of them was all nervous, and he said, Yahweh opened his eyes so that he'll see. And when he opened his eyes, he saw chariots and all the angels sitting there, and he realized, because at first he thought they was outnumbered. Man, we gonna lose, man. We gonna die. They got all these soldiers out here. We got about 8, 9, 10 people. We gonna die. He said, man, open his eyes because he getting on our nerve. He opened his eyes and he see all them angels lined up. That's who getting ready to fight. He's like, "Mau dang." Now he realized, oh man, we straight, dog. We straight. Right. See, a lot of times we trying to look at what we can do with our physical ability. Your physical ability don't mean jack. If we do what we're supposed to do, we got angels dealing with our situation. Stop worrying about what you can physically do. You don't even know what you can physically do. You think you this fast. Let the pit bull get behind you. You this fast. See, you just ain't had the right amount of motivation yet. Go ahead, bro.
1 Chronicles chapter 21 and verse 22. Then Dawid said to Ornan, grant me the place of this threshing floor, that I may build an altar therein unto Yahweh. You shall grant it me for the full price, that the plague may be stayed from the people. And Ornan said unto Dawid, take it to you, and let my master the king do that which is good in his eyes. Lo, I give you the oxen also for burnt offerings, and the threshing instruments for wood, and the wheat for the meat offering. I give it all. And King Dawid said to Ornan, No, but I will verily buy it for the full price.
Now, this brother has seen an angel. He sees Dawid. He is talking about, look, you can have all this stuff. See, you can have that. Look, I'm gonna give you the instruments. I'm gonna give you the animals. I'm gonna give you everything. But Dawid says, I cannot do that. I need to purchase it. See, I need to have a sacrifice to offer unto my Elohim. And I can't offer that if it doesn't cost me anything. See? If you offer something and it don't cost you nothing, then it wasn't no offering. See, this is how the woman who gave the 2 little mites or the 2 pennies or whatever it was, this is how she gave more than everybody, because she gave all that she had. It cost her something because she didn't have that much. Go ahead.
For I will not take that which is yours for Yahweh, nor offer burnt offerings without cost. So Dawid gave to Ornan for the place 600 shekels of gold by weight. And Dawid built there an altar unto Yahweh, and offered burnt offerings and peace offerings, and called upon Yahweh. And he answered him from heaven by fire upon the altar of burnt offerings.
So Yahweh answered from fire, from heaven by fire. So you see this fire coming out of heaven as an answer from Yahweh Elohim. Let's go to our 2 Chronicles chapter 7. Second Chronicles chapter 7, and let's read verses 1 through 4.
Now when Shlomo had made an end of praying, the fire came down from heaven, and consumed the burnt offering and the sacrifices, and the glory of Yahweh filled the house.
Now, consider, when they make the offerings, the certain part that belongs to Yahweh is burnt up on the offer, burnt up on the altar. So now, fire comes down out of heaven and consumes the offering. This is the same thing when who was that? Manoah or whatever that was, the angel, that they made the offering, they stepped back, fire came and consumed the offering. This is why the offering is set on fire. It is burnt for Yahweh. So once again, we then see this fire coming out of heaven to consume this offering. So this is something that Yahweh does. Go ahead.
And the priest could not enter into the house of Yahweh, because the glory of Yahweh had filled Yahweh's house. And when all the children of Israel saw how the fire came down, and the glory of Yahweh upon the house, they bowed themselves with their faces to the ground upon the pavement, and worshipped, and praised Yahweh, saying, For he is good, for his mercy endures forever.
Right. When did they do this? When they saw how the fire came down. See? Go ahead.
Then the king and all the people offered sacrifices before Yahweh.
All right. So now let's go to Job chapter 1. Job chapter 1. See, a lot of people can't serve Yahweh because they hadn't seen his power. When he shows that power, it has a tendency to get people's attention. So this fire comes down out of heaven. Once they saw that, they automatically worship. And it's Job chapter 1, and we're going to read verses 6 through 16.
Verse 6. Now there was a day when the sons of Elohim came to present themselves before Yahweh, and Satan came also among them.
Right. So in this instance, you're going to find several places where the sons of Elohim are mentioned in the book. When it's talking about regular men, then he's dealing with the holy seed. When he says sons of Elohim in other places, he's dealing with the angels. Here, he's clearly talking about the angels, which shows us something else, that just as we have holy days, so do the angels. Melchizedek was a priest of Salem. Jerusalem is Salem. So we have a city on earth that mimics the city in heaven. There was already a priest of Salem. Before any of this, it was him that Abraham met. So there was absolutely no law. There's no direction. There's nothing set up on the earth at that point Yet there was already holy days. There was already a priest. There was already order set up in heaven. Matter of fact, when he told him to make the tabernacle, he said, make sure that you make it according to the instruction showed you at the mount. Where you get those instructions from? See, we have to have, as the prayer says, let it be done on earth as it is in heaven. It was already done up there. So you got to be careful what it is you decide you're going to change. See, we conquered it for Christ. All right, well, you conquered it for Christ. Did they change it in heaven for you? Well, then somebody in trouble. Go ahead.
Verse 7. And Yahweh said unto Satan, Whence cometh you?
Where you come from? Go ahead.
Then Satan answered Yahweh and said, From going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it.
Right. This is how some people like to make their cross. They say, you know, up and down and to and fro. Go ahead.
And Yahweh said unto Satan, Have you considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and upright man, one that fears Elohim and escheweth evil? Then Satan answered Yahweh and said, Does Job fear Elohim for naught?
Here go a champion snitch. Champions, he don't fear you for nothing. Yeah, here go Captain Snitch right here. Go ahead.
Have not you made an hedge about him, and about his house,
Right.
and about all that he has?
He know all your stuff. See? He know all your stuff. And he can go and talk to Yahweh at any time about your stuff. Look at all this stuff you got here. Why don't you look at this car? This is a nice car. Why you ain't getting one of them old or hoop this or something? Well, look at this nice car you gave. Yo. Go ahead.
And about all that he has on every side? You have blessed the work of his hands, and his substance is increased in the land.
Look at all this stuff he got. Go ahead.
But put forth your hand now, and touch all that he has, and he will curse you to your face.
Right. Now see, this bothers people because they said, look at how Yahweh, you know, they just go through it. Hey, this whole book is a chess match between the adversary, the devil, and Yahweh, and you the one on the board. So don't let this one verse throw you. You in the whole book. This right here upsets some people.
Can't believe Yahweh bargaining, you know.
Right. You ain't really read this book, have you? Go ahead.
You know, all you gotta do is put it in the mind of a family business. The parents own it, the son coming up trying to take over.
Yeah.
He got his own ideas and his own ways.
He want to do it his way. And you also find that's what the mafia family is the same way, where they try to kill off the daddy so they can go ahead and be the next leader. Right. Go ahead.
Verse 12. And Yahweh said unto Satan, Behold, all that he has is in your power. Only upon himself put forth not your hand.
Right. You can't touch him. You can't kill him. Go ahead.
So Satan went forth from the presence of Yahweh.
So his problem was his stuff. He got too much stuff. Go ahead.
And there was a day when his sons and his daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. And there came a messenger unto Job and said, The oxen were plowing and the asses feeding beside them.
So Job is grown. He has grown daughters and sons. They in their eldest brother's house. So he's a man of age. Go ahead.
And the Sabaeans fell upon them and took them away. Yes, they have slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and I only am escaped alone to tell you. While he was yet speaking.
See, this is how the adversary is coming at him. He leave one alive to tell the story. And he's coming back to back. Because y'all know sometimes we can deal with a lot of stuff, especially men. We can deal with a lot of stuff as long as it happened at one time. But, like, and sisters, I don't know if y'all know this or not, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you. Look, if you need $50, ask the man for $50. Don't ask the man for $10 5 times. He going to cuss you out. I'm trying to tell you, it is just annoying to just give me 10. Okay, now, baby, now I need another 10. Oh, baby, give me another 10. Will you just ask for $50 and leave me alone? So Lucifer know this, so he's stretching that thing out. So here go a little problem, and right when that problem ends, come to him with this one. See, men, we ain't equipped for that. We're not equipped for that. We don't like to think about a whole lot of little things. See, women can think about 10 different things at one time, and they're completely fine. A man, like, what's the most important thing that we need to take care of? Okay, well, give me that thing right there, and then you take all these other little things and go and take care of them. Just give me the big one. I keep the big one in there. That's what all I'm gonna do right there. I'm gonna keep the big one. All right, we got rent, food. I got that. Just let me keep that right there. All that other stuff, I don't want to hear nothing about the daycare and, you know what I'm saying, diapers and stuff like that. What's that? Cheese? You have cheese? Don't have no cheese. Why don't you have no cheese? Don't know about no cheese. Just give me the rent and give me that. Give me that. Just I'll take care of that. Right. So he knows this. So he knows how to mess with the mindset of the man by little nitpicking. Think about how strong Samson was. What got him? Nagging. Strongest man ever. She nagging. He like, look, I am a God. The powers, you cut my hair off, I'll die. God almighty. Now stop nagging me. All these other men trying to find out his power. Can't nobody find out his power. But the woman did. Nagged him to death. A little bit. If you love me, you would tell me your power. Why you won't tell me your power? You don't really love me. Right. Got him. Captain Muscles. Got him. With just a little bit of nag. Constantly. Right. Go ahead.
Verse 16. While he was yet speaking, there came also another, and said, the fire of Elohim is fallen from heaven.
Wait a minute. The fire. Now, we done already seen fire from Elohim, fire out of heaven come. All right. So now they see fire out of heaven and they automatically say, it's the fire of Elohim. But this Lucifer. Go ahead.
And has burnt up the sheep and the servants and consumed them. And I only am escaped alone to tell you.
Now, the flip side of that is what? The last fire thing we saw was what? One of the fire comes out and consumes the offering. Well, the fire came out of heaven and burnt up the sheep. So here it is. Lucifer then goes and consumes the offering. He comes and burns up the sheep out of heaven. And they automatically attribute that to Yahweh. But that's not who that is. Go ahead. Did you finish that up?
Yeah, that was verse 16.
All right. Now let's go to Revelation chapter 13. See, there's all kind of little sidebar things that, you know, you don't notice. Because, I mean, you on the board. You don't really see it like that. Because, you know, it's different when you are the chess pieces. You don't really get to see, you know, all the stuff that's happening on the board like that. You know, it ain't your fault, you know. Revelation chapter 13, and let's read verses 1 through 8.
And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. So
then we have these nations that are then set up under the Euro-Gentile rule. We have Rome that sits on these 7 hills. And then we have these kings that have ruled and that are still trying to set back up this once full earthly rulership that they once had. Go ahead.
And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power, and his seat, and great authority.
And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. So the leadership that is upon the earth is set forth by the adversary, the devil. See, he's got his people to accomplish certain things. This is why when we read in Daniel, he says, from the moment you prayed, I was sent forth. But the prince of Persia, whatever he called it, that withstood me. And he said, afterwards, I got to go. They got to go and fight with the prince of Grecia. So you got these angels setting up all of these things that the nations are doing. And then you have the angels that's keeping them from totally destroying Israel. Then we have a hedge. Consider what happened with Job. He said, take down the hedge and let me get at it. All right? Just all you got to do, remove the hedge. He said, all right, but you can take his stuff. Then it went on the next level. He said, all right, you can touch him, but you can't take his life. Killed all the kids except the woman. See, people don't understand how deep a marriage is. And the fact that they were married, then they were as one. When he said you had to save his life, that automatically saved the woman's life. So the adversary couldn't kill the woman because she was married to Job. That means she was him. Yeah, she was the one who said, won't you just curse Elohim and die? You know, make it easy for me. And the only reason she ain't dead is because of him. But don't nobody consider that. Go ahead, brother.
Revelations chapter 13 and verse 3. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast.
Right. You have this so-called Holy Roman Empire that they have been trying to revive for quite some time. But see, the real problem, they was almost about to succeed in getting the EU back together without firing one shot. And then things still fell apart. And now they still having problems with the EU. Well, they done figured out what the problem is. It's America. See, the Holy Roman Empire get to get all their stuff back. But it's their little whorish daughter that's messing up the power structure. See, if they get that daughter out the way, they'll be able to set their, because see, the daughter was just supposed to be an expansion of their power to go and set up colonies and things of that nature. But the little disobedient daughter has grown to go and take over her mama's stuff. Well, now the mama said, oh, no, this ain't going to work right here. See, this ain't going to work. See, no, boo-boo. See, you little girl. I'm big girl. This ain't going to work. So big girl got to get rid of little girl. Because little girl don't know where her place is. See, you rule that little room right there. See, this your little room. I gave you this room. Little girl said, no. I want to rule the whole house. I want to rule the kitchen. I want to rule the bathroom. I want to rule downstairs. Time for you to go, little girl. See? So, they've been together all this time. But see, mama can't let you take over her stuff. And America not going to compromise. See? When compromise, when the time for compromise is gone, it's time for you to be gone. And that same way you have to do to each children. When it's time that you know more than me, it's time for you to get the hell on out this house. It is time. It is time. You have graduated. Hercules. It's time for you to get the hell out of here. See, when the stuff I'm saying don't make no sense to you, that means you got grown ears. You can't hear nobody but you. Yeah. You need your own little space. That's what it is. And see, the problem is, this daughter not gonna listen. See? Y'all stop all that giggling over there. Go ahead.
Verse 4. And they worshiped the dragon which gave power unto the beast. And they worshiped the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies. And power was given unto him to continue 42 months. And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against Elohim, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle and them that dwell in heaven. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them. And power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb, slain from the foundation of the world.
So, He has offered this deception so much, and all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him. So he's able to deceive these people so much that they actually believe that they're doing the right thing. They actually believe that they're in the right place of worship. Go ahead.
If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leads into captivity shall go into captivity. He that kills with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here's the patience and faith of the saints. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And he exercised all the power of the first beast before him, and causes the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed.
Right. So after this Holy Roman Empire gets set back up, they are then going to push back to have this so-called one world order, which is what is printed on the back of the American dollar. They were already trying to implement these things. See? But they got a little haughty and forgot that they were just supposed to be the colony. But now they want to take over all the other stuff. Go ahead.
And he does great wonders, so that he makes fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men.
So now the beast makes fire come out of heaven. So now you're not going to be able to tell them, just like during the time of Job, when they saw the fire come down from heaven, they said, oh my God, look at what God has done. The same thing they're going to say here. When they see fire shoot out of heaven, they're going to say, Jesus has returned. Look at Jesus. All they got to give us some Joel Osteen looking guy. And that Joel Osteen looking dude make fire shoot down. You ain't going to tell them that ain't Jesus.
Jesus has returned. He's made fire shoot out of heaven. We're going to worship him. Yes, Lord God.
Right. Right. Because they're looking for some miracles anyway. See? Go ahead.
That was verse 13.
That was it. Let's go back up to Revelation chapter 2. Revelation chapter 2. And let's read verses 12 and 13.
And to the angel of the church in Pergamos write, these things says he which has the sharp sword with 2 edges. I know your works, and where you dwell.
And where you dwell.
Even where Satan's seat is.
Where Satan's seat is. Where he rules on earth. Go ahead.
And you holdeth fast my name, and has not denied my faith, even in those days wherein Antipas was my faithful martyr, who was slain among you, where Satan dwells.
Where Satan dwells. Now, I want you to read that note there, what we looked up about Pergamos.
Pergamos served many idols, such as Zeus, Dionysus, Athena, and others. It had many temples and altars. It was the prominence of its worship of Asclepius as savior, healer, and preserver that made Pergamos distinctive in this regard. Asclepius was a god of healing and health. He made an impressive temple, the ruins of which can be visited in Pergamos today. People used to sleep in that temple with the idea that Asclepius would give them a dream which would be interpreted by his priest, telling them how to be healed. One animal is especially associated with Asclepius, the snake. Asclepius' symbol is a serpent entwined staff, still used in the medical world today.
Right. When you go to any of the things, you go to the doctor, you end up finding this pole with the snake around it. This is about the worship of their god, of one of their gods that they then believe is going to heal them. Go ahead.
What's it called? Caduceus.
Right. We're going to get into the Caduceus. Go ahead.
At the dedication of temples to Asclepius, snakes would be encouraged to enter the building.
Now see, that's already a problem right there. They're going to be healed into a place where they letting snakes in. I already know it wasn't a whole lot of sisters in there. Because that's how you get some sisters out of the building. Hey, boo, it's a snake in here. Well, call me when you get it out. That pretty much took care of that business right there. Matter of fact, if you can't get your woman out the house, look, I want you to go somewhere. I don't want to go. Well, I did see a snake in here. What? Let me get my coat. That's it. That's it. But she has been persuaded, Jack. She is not hanging around with no snake at. Go ahead.
Doubtless, such a ceremony took place in Pergamos too, in honor of Asclepius. A particular type of non-venomous snake was often used in healing rituals. These were called Asclepian snakes. They slithered around freely on the floor in dormitories where the sick and injured slept.
Right. So it's snakes going around while you sleeping. Go ahead.
In Revelation 12, verse 9, the great dragon, or the devil, or Satan, which deceived the whole world, is also called that old serpent.
Mm-hmm.
This is a reference to the devil's use of a snake in Genesis 3 to tempt Eve to eat the forbidden fruit. Whereas death and disease came through the devil using a snake, the worshippers of Asclepius ascribed healing and preservation to the serpent.
So they didn't believe that this serpent is healing them. Let's go to Numbers chapter 21. See, the adversary slick. He's a very worthy adversary. You can't say he ain't worthy now. Numbers chapter 21 and verse 5 through 9. See, there's a lot of things you have to ask yourself, why did Yahweh do certain things in certain ways? So understanding that they then set up this Asclepian rulership, this worship of the snake, but we're gonna go all the way back in the beginning and read something and how Israel was first worshiping it. Numbers chapter 21, and let's read verses 5 through 9.
And the people spake against Elohim and against Moshe. Wherefore have you brought us up out of Egypt to die in the wilderness? For there is no bread, neither is there any water, and our soul loathes this light bread.
Oh, we hate this light bread. You ain't got no Wonder Bread back there. You got this light bread here that we rich. We got gold and silver, but all we can eat is light bread. So they ticked off. Go ahead.
And Yahweh sent fiery serpents among the people, and they bit the people, and much people of Israel died.
Yeah, so Yahweh said, you like the serpent? You want to worship him so much? I'm going to give you a serpent. Go ahead.
Therefore the people came to Moshe and said, we've sinned, for we have spoken against Yahweh and against you. Pray unto Yahweh that he take away the serpents from us. And Moshe prayed for the people.
Now, they asked for the serpents to be taken away. Look at what Yahweh did. Go ahead.
And Yahweh said unto Moshe, make you a fiery serpent, and set it up on a pole.
What?
And it shall come to pass that everyone that is bitten, when he looks upon it, shall live.
Now, you see how this whole thing gets started then? But understand how Yahweh deals in prophetic things. When you look at all of the turmoil that ended up happening between Leah and Rachel, it wasn't about what was going on in a multiple marriage relationship. It was about what was going to happen with Israel. But if you don't know no better, you reading those things in Genesis and you taking all of those things out of context. So you have to ask yourself, why didn't Yahweh just take the serpents away instead of making a serpent intertwined on a pole and then make them look upon it and then heal them? Say, because y'all going to end up worshiping the devil. Did you finish that?
I was just looking at that with the serpent, and up to this day, if you get bitten by a serpent, they got to know what type of snake bit you in order to get that venom to heal you.
Right. Go ahead.
And Moshe made a serpent of brass and put it up on a pole. And it came to pass that if a serpent had bitten any man, when he beheld the serpent of brass, he lived.
So he had to look at the serpent of brass, and then he was healed. And the other thing they tell you get bit by a snake, you know, they say, you know, somebody got to suck the venom out. So you know what's going to happen if they call me and say, what happened? What did the doctor say? Stop. They said you dead, bro. They said you dead, huh? They said you gonna die. Yeah, cause ain't no venom sucking over here, brother. I don't know what to tell you. Let's go to 2 Kings chapter 18. Yeah, I love you, man. I love you, bro. I love you like a play cousin, but look at him. Yeah, that venom gonna stay over there. 2 Kings chapter 18, and let's read verses 1 through 5.
Verse 1. Now it came to pass in the 3rd year of Hosea, son of Elah, king of Israel, that Hezekiah the son of Ahaz, king of Yehudah, began to reign. 25 years old was he when he began to reign. And he reigned 29 years in Jerusalem.
25 years old when was he when he began to reign. 25 years old. Go ahead.
His mother's name also was Abiah, the daughter of Zechariah. And he did that which was right in the sight of Yahweh, according to all that David his father did. He removed the high places and brake the images, and cut down the groves, and brake in pieces the brazen serpent that Moshe had made.
Now, I do understand now, it was Yahweh that had instructed that this brazen serpent be made. But dealing in righteousness, anything that has caused Israel a problem needs to be dealt with. These groves or these Christmas trees, don't get it twisted. We go out there in the wilderness, Jake gonna be out there setting up them Christmas trees, trying to decorate them, handing each other pine cones for gifts. Cause they missed their Christmas. Go ahead.
For unto those days the children of Israel did burn incense to it, and he called it Nehushtan.
Right. So they done gave the thing a name. They done start worshiping the thing to the point where now Hezekiah got to have it destroyed because it is causing a problem in Israel. You think Yahweh didn't know that when he set it up? He said, I ain't going to take away all these nations from among you because I'm going to see whether you're going to serve me or not. So some of these nations I'm going to leave among you just so I can prove you. Right. Let's go to 2 Corinthians chapter 11. So then you consider them. Now back up. Yahweh gives them this thing. Then the adversary, the devil, sets up all healing under the symbol of a snake on a pole. So you go to the doctor, you go to the hospital, you run into the snake. Man, I broke my leg. Let me go to this snake. See? So he's got all his healing attached to the snake. See? The adversary always set up some kind of mimicking situation when it comes down to Yahweh. And those who are not paying attention will deal with the things that the adversary has set up, and they feel totally justified. You got people been going to church for 30, 40 years. You can't tell them nothing different. They truly believe they're standing in the right place. And we have to understand how blessed we are that Yahweh has called us out of gross darkness that we might be able to see. 2 Corinthians chapter 11, and let's start that at verse 1.
Would to Elohim you could bear with me a little in my folly, and indeed bear with me. For I am jealous over you with godly jealousy. For I have espoused you to one husband, that I may present you as a chaste virgin to the Mashiach. But I fear, lest by any means, as the serpent beguiled Eve through his subtlety, so your minds should be corrupted from the simplicity that is in the Mashiach.
Right. As the serpent beguiled Eve through his subtlety. So you have this slickness of the serpent, which is why the adversary used it. Go ahead.
For if he that comes preaches another Yahshua, whom we have not preached, or if you receive another spirit, which you have not received, or another gospel, which you have not accepted, you might well bear with me.
Right. You have to look at something. There's a whole nother gospel taught on Sunday morning That gospel does not match what's in this book. When you read about the valley of the dry bones, we're talking about Israel being brought back to life and going to be placed in Israel. If everybody go to heaven, why was there still a valley of dry bones? Why were they even still on the earth to be resurrected? Why they weren't already in heaven? So there's a problem here. There's a totally different doctrine. Go ahead.
For I suppose I was not a whit behind the very chiefest apostles. But though I be rude in speech, yet not in knowledge, for we have been thoroughly made manifest among you in all things. I have committed an offense in abasing myself that you might be exalted, because I have preached to you the gospel of Elohim freely. I robbed other churches, taking wages of them, to do you service. And when I was present with you, and wanted, I was chargeable to no man. For that which was lacking to me, the brethren which came from Macedonia supplied. And in all things I have kept myself from being burdensome unto you. And so will I keep myself.
Right. And I must say thank you to all those who gave their donations, especially to get our heat and everything set up. We're in the process of doing that now. So we thank you once again for that. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 10. As the truth of the Mashiach is in me, no man shall stop me of this boasting in the regions of Achaia. Wherefore? Because I love you not? Elohim knows. But what I do, that I will do, that I may cut off occasion from them which desire occasion, that wherein they glory, they may be found even as we. For such are false apostles, deceitful workers, transforming themselves into the apostles of the Mashiach.
Transforming themselves into the apostles of the Mashiach. So now, even as the adversary has then played this huge pretend game and pretending to be Yahweh, giving the people a generic version of God to worship, he has then set forth his ministers to do the same thing. So now they're around telling people God this and God that. It's very interesting. I heard King Trickery on the TV. All of a sudden he talks about Jesus and then says Joshua right after. I said, look at this, boy. I tell you, boy, these folks are getting slick and slick. They watch and they listen to the stuff that we say, and then they got to offer something to those people because we said Jesus ain't his name. So then they trying to trick these people into, well, you know, Jesus is just the English version of Joshua. Well, first of all, why did it take you so long to even admit that there was another name? Well, this is just to translate. Names don't translate. Not once have we heard Putin name changed to something else. Not once have we heard Saddam name changed to something else. Yet they want to tell us that the son of Elohim, whom he has said what his name is going to be, they say his name is translated into something else. But yet they respect earthly men and they don't change their name. See if when President Putin or somebody come over here, see if they call him Larry. Larry, come on, sit down. What are you talking to? See if they disrespect him and change his name. But you want to change the name of the Son of the Most High, and you don't see the disrespect in it. Go ahead.
Verse 14. And no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. Therefore, it is no great thing if his ministers also be transformed as the ministers of righteousness, whose end shall be according to their works.
All right. And these are things that we have to consider, because there will be given us these great false miracles that if you're seeking for a sign, you're seeking for certain things, you're going to be deceived by the adversary. See, it is written, it says, an adulterous, an unbelieving generation seeks after a sign. Sign is not for believers. Signs are for unbelievers. So consider what it is we look for, because The adversary is about to get into a place where he does some real magical things. And if your heart ain't right, you're going to believe him and follow him. That's all that we're going to do. Remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.